On the morning of September 11, 2001, millions of Americans began what looked like an ordinary Tuesday. 4 commercial airplanes would soon become central to a coordinated terrorist attack that changed the course of modern history. The 4 flights departed from airports in the northeastern United States during the early morning hours. At first, nothing appeared dramatically unusual. Then, air traffic controllers began noticing that something was wrong. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The nation had entered an unprecedented crisis. At first, many people believed it might have been a terrible accident. Then, another airplane appeared over Manhattan. At 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 struck the South Tower. It was now clear that America was under attack. Within minutes, the attacks were no longer a New York story. They had become a national emergency. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense. Across Washington, officials struggled to understand how many aircraft might still be under the attackers' control. One aircraft, United Airlines Flight 93, was still heading toward an unknown target. After learning what had happened in New York and Washington, passengers aboard Flight 93 realized their plane was part of the attack. The passengers decided to confront the hijackers. Their actions changed the aircraft's final destination. At approximately 10:03 a.m., Flight 93 crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. No one aboard survived. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed, less than an hour after it had been struck. Lower Manhattan was suddenly covered by a massive cloud of dust and debris. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapsed after burning for more than an hour and a half. The skyline that had defined New York for decades was gone. The city was suddenly living through an event no one had imagined. Thousands of first responders entered danger, while others helped strangers escape. Their actions became one of the defining stories of that day. Across the United States, commercial aviation was brought to an unprecedented halt as the country tried to understand what had happened. Nearly 3,000 people were killed in the attacks, leaving families, communities, and an entire nation changed forever. The consequences extended far beyond that morning, reshaping American foreign policy, aviation security, intelligence operations, and global politics. But New York rebuilt. Where the towers once stood, a memorial and a new skyline became symbols of remembrance and resilience. September 11 changed America forever. More than 2 decades later, the day remains a reminder of loss, courage, and how quickly history can change.